Josh Williams might be the best kept secret in the 2025 NFL Draft. He walked on at LSU, stayed 6 years, and earned the number 18. You know, the jersey that's reserved for the leaders with elite character and grit. Then he showed up at LSU's pro day, running a 4.45, jumping 42.5 inches, and catching everything. So sleep on him if you want to, but whoever drafts Josh Williams, that team's getting a steal.
With you being a 6-year senior in the age of the portal, what is it about LSU or all personal philosophy that's led you to be so loyal to a day as opposed to jumping in the portal looking for a head around the tip?
Well, I think to answer that question, I'll pretty much have to give you the backstory of how I got to LSU. I would say it started in 6th grade. I got pretty intense in basketball. I've been to China to play basketball. I kind of took that as my main sport until my junior year of high school. Realized I was only 5'9", decided that I needed to get into a sport that I think I could make a professional level at. I have a really good football build, been playing that my whole life. My dad played in the NFL, so it's always been kind of natural for me. Just so happened I had a few connections back at home, and we ended up getting the opportunity at LSU. And I earned a scholarship in about a year. It was the first ever in LSU history to do that, and pretty much from there, I've just been on the up and up and just playing more and more each year. And for me to come back to LSU my last year was more of a legacy thing. I ended up being one of the number 18 captains at LSU, which is a prestigious number in the district. So pretty much more for you to walk on to the most important number on the team. So it was all about just finishing through, getting the job done, and finishing where I started pretty much.
So how did you earn that number?
It's just being who I am. Showing up early, leaving late, doing the things that the coaches ask of, not just the minimum, but going overboard with it, having really strong details about everything that I do and say, being deliberate. My teammates, being a leader on and off the field, just being that guy that you can consistently look at and he's like, oh yeah, he's on the right track. So that's pretty much why I've been.
I think that's really important, and we're going to come back to that. But I want to rewind to something that you said earlier in your answer, when you said you have a really good football build. Now, there are some people who might debate that. So what do you think physically are your biggest strengths that you bring to the table, John?
I'm very, very stout and very, stocky as a runner. Have really good contact balance, great feet, great speed, catch the ball at the backfield, pretty much can do everything that coach could really ask of me. Very, very hardworking, high effort guy. So it's the flat man.
He's not lying about the contact balance, y'all. I saw y'all doing a drill earlier that, I'm gonna be honest, I was like, this is one of the craziest drills I've ever seen.
So
essentially, they were hopping on one leg and being hit with a bag. And I was just like, what is this? But Jimmy Ward, I saw him yesterday. So as ridiculous as that drill was, though, I was impressed with your ability to not only stay upright while somebody's hitting you while you're hopping on one foot, but then to go immediately from that to lowering your pad level in order to clear the bar. This was a crazy drill, though. But lowering your pad level to clear the bar, I was like, okay, this is crazy, but I'm impressed. So I know you probably haven't practiced that specific thing.
That was my first time doing that drill.
I'm just looking for everybody. But when it comes to the kind of work ethic that you bring to the table, do you think about having to do extreme things like that, in game time, whenever you're preparing for your role?
Definitely. Being at LSU for the amount of time that I've been, I think I appeared at 60 games at LSU in my time. And just the versatility of each game, you never know what you can get. It's always be different types of fronts, blitzes. You never know what you have to go through in a game. So I think training, everything is intangible going into the game.
Valid. Now, on that note, I was reading an article. Tell me what you think about this. I was reading an article that said your greatest strength is your wisdom.
I could see that.
So the article was talking about.
I like that answer.
I'm glad you like it. I see the smile on your face, and I can tell that you're proud of that. That's pretty dope. So the article was talking about a situation that I want you to kind of run me through, what was going through your head as you had to navigate this with your team. but it was talking about when you guys were on I think it was a 3-game losing streak.
Okay.
About to go play Vanderbilt, who was hot at the time.
Yeah.
And essentially, you had to call a players-only meeting, first of all, and then you ended up giving a speech to the team to kind of get everybody on track. And ultimately, y'all ended up breaking that losing streak.
Damn.
So walk us through the conversation, some of the thought process and things that you had to think about and go through in order to decide to hold that meeting and actually end up leading your team in that way. Because, like, to put it into context for people who might be less familiar with you, you've never been a starter person, but just from looking at what people say about you, when they write about you, when they talk about your role on the team, you've always been impactful. And I think that's pretty special because I think a lot of people expect, the most impactful people are going to be the people who have the most showers.
That's correct.
But you've made a really big difference. So talk about that scenario specifically, because that seems everlasting.
Okay, so, it's always rough going through a losing streak, and that's in anything, business, relationship, games, whatever the case is. But knowing where the team was mentally as far as going through that losing streak and understanding what the coaches wanted and them being very transparent with me on not only me but other players on the team, we all thought it was a great idea to have our own team meeting and really just get it all out there, to spirit it out, understand what we're here for, never forget who we were fighting for. This is LSU. Take a lot of pride in Louisiana. I'm not even from Louisiana, but I take a lot of pride in LSU and all our fans and everybody that really supports us. So really just gave everybody essentially a wake-up call. And before the game, as an offense, we always meet together before we go on the buses to go to the game. And me and a couple other players stood up and we had a pretty impactful thoughts and statements. Vanderbilt was one of my best games of the season last year, and I just felt like the energy was really up that game as far as really trying to turn the season around and really finish strong. And we ended up doing that, and I think the leadership of the team is what really got us out of that slump.
So what would you say to a person who says, so what is it you think that you bring to the table by holding a players-only meeting that the coaches couldn't do to the team?
Because I'm a player as well, and even though I'm a leader, and some guys may look at me as just, he's just a leader or whatever, I've been in the same shoes that you've been in, so I know it from night and day. I know both sides completely. I've been the guy that didn't even get to travel. I've been the guy that got to play. I got the guy that used to be in the back of the thing. Now I'm in the front. So I feel like I know a little piece of everybody's situation in a way. And I just was very blatantly honest about what we're doing, like not calling people out, but at the same time being very honest about the elite level of LSU and what we're doing each and every week and what it takes to be great in this sport, in this game. And it's not only in this game, but just anything. It takes details, it takes effort, getting there early, leaving late, just going above and beyond. And I feel like whenever you're just doing the bare minimum, you can skate by sometimes, but in order to make it efficiently and make it like for sure, you gotta put in some more effort. And man, in other words, that's essentially what I said. It's just a PG version. But yeah, that's
PG version. I did it. So on that note, let me ask you this: as someone who prides himself on his his leadership abilities, have you thought about how that persona might translate to coach, where you'll be a rookie guy? Mm-hmm. Have you thought about how people might respond to someone who comes in with your demeanor just seems to be the natural leader?
Well, not necessarily, because it's the same way I came into LSU. You got to see, I came into LSU when it was 2019, the national championship team with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, all these big star names. So I wasn't even expecting to be a vocal leader my freshman year. I think I'm just more so of a natural lead by example type of guy. As I've gotten older, I've become more of a vocal leader and more okay with being more of a vocal leader, but I'm very realistic and I'm very understanding of my situations. I wouldn't go into the NFL or thinking like, I need to be the leader, I need to talk. Like, nobody wants to listen to the rookie that nobody knows. You got to get your feet wet. You got to understand what this is a business. I understand all this, and I think about it from a different lens, a different perspective. So yeah.
awareness. I like it.
Yeah, in other words, awareness. Exactly.
So you mentioned Joe Burrow. And that kind of brought to mind the fact that you were with LSU.
Two husbands.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you were at LSU when it was kind of at the very top, and then you had to deal with what was kind of a disappointing season. So what do you think you learned from being with the same program, going through multiple coaches and also multiple phases in terms of performance?
Honestly, going through just ups and downs at LSU, I mean, it really just gave me insight into the world of sports, you know? I mean, it's not always going to be good. It's not always going to be bad, but that's not what it's about. It's about showing up every day and doing your job. And even though some of the years were, I feel like going through those ups and downs at LSU, like the COVID year and getting a new coaching staff and all that is just adversity at the end of the day. And it's just changing for your environment. And you have to be somebody that's willing to, especially if you want to make it in the NFL, you have to be willing to understand that this is a business and everything is moving pieces. So I wasn't scared or upset that we got new coaches. I understood what the situation was. And if you go to the NFL and you get picked up by this team the next day and they expect you to play, you got to be willing to go in there and be a little adaptable. So that's just the perspective I looked at it. Like, I know this is a business. I understand where I'm at at a football team, the LSU, one of the biggest teams in America. So, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like this isn't normal. Like, I'm going to think about it from a different perspective.
I think that's something else significant about just the career path that you chose, because the players who I've talked to who did decide to hop in the portal and go to another program, all of them have talked about the fact that it was a coaching change that led them to do that. So you stuck around not only through coaching changes, but also through, basically playing a backup role, which seems to be the second reason why people have it.
Not the whole time. I mean, I played backup role for like my first 2 years, but I mean, I got some starting roles for the most part. Yeah. I mean, I played the majority.
Somebody wrote that wrong there. Just FYI. If anybody else mentions that, it's because somebody wrote that you were the first.
I started, maybe not my freshman and sophomore year, but definitely started a bunch of games, for sure.
Yeah, good to know. So what do you think was the main difference between going from the backup role to achieving those starting positions? Was it just a matter of time, or is there something that you changed about what you were doing?
I don't think it was more so about me. I think it was more about getting the reps, gaining trust, getting put on the field in smaller responsibilities and executing those responsibilities to gain more responsibility in the field. If that makes sense. So you start off a special teams guy.
Just about to ask you about special teams.
Play all four of these special teams, kickoff return, punt return. Do that. Did that for a season. You know what I'm saying? Next, with some third down back in between, and then more so into third down, catching the ball at the backfield, pass protection, just the small things that get you on the field, important things. I kind of made that my niche. Like, I knew that if I could become the best third down back at LSU, then they would have to put me in to go block and put me in on this third down. And maybe if we got the first down, I had to stay in the game. And it kind of just started like that. And then as time went, I got more and more reps and popping more and more yards. So that's just kind of how it went,
You're strategic. I like it.
Very strategic.
So you mentioned pass blocking. What's your opinion on that? I feel like that's a lost art among running backs.
I think that it's not as spotlighted as much as it should, because it is a very important part of the game, especially the way the game is going now with all the balls that are thrown on the quarterbacks. Everything's just kind of coming at you fast. I think it's very important to be able to protect the quarterback. I mean, he's probably one of the most valuable players on the team, one of the highest contracts. And if you can protect that guy with your life, he trusts you, you pretty much got you got a job on the team. I mean, you got dudes that's like 6'6", 350 running at you. That's your life.
Okay, good point.
You can get your head knocked off out there. So, I mean, it's some real stuff. Like, you got to be on your game, and you got to be willing to be physical out there. That makes sense.
All right, so if a team picks you up, they're getting a player that's not only strategic and wise and ready to be a leader, whatever capacity that happens to be, but you're also a running back that's willing to work, willing to do special teams, and you value pass blocking.
Yeah, that's my makeup. That's exactly.
You run routes too?
Yeah, all types of routes.
What do you not do? You're not going to say I'm carrying it. You're not going to.
What I not do? I don't complain. I go with the flow. I'm not a complainer.
That is such a politics.
Understand? Not just soft to top.
I like it though. I'm into it. All right, so
I think that's scripted. This ain't scripted. This is
you're right. It's not scripted, but that was a very good answer though.
I got you.
So when it comes to your ideal situation, what are some things that you like to do in gameplay? Like, it sounds like you can do everything, but if you had to say, like, this is my specialty.
Yeah. I like running the ball.
Okay, clear enough.
Running the ball has pretty much always been like my ideal. I maybe have not been able to as much as I wanted to, but understand that there's a lot of moving pieces that are involved with that. But at the end of the day, I'm very confident and catching the ball, running the ball, and just making plays with the ball. Put it that way.
I heard somebody say the other day that a good running back can make a developing offensive line look really good while it gets there. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
You feel like that's part of your responsibility?
I could see that, yeah.
Okay.
Same way an O-line could make a not as good quarterback with grit.
Okay.
Goes both ways.
All right, so let me ask you a couple of other things just about your personal interests. Sometimes, whether they start in college or start maybe in the pros, a player will either invest in a business like a charity. Or are there any special interests that are close to your heart that you're like, man, this means a lot to me. I would love to impact the world in this way.
Is your dad? I wouldn't necessarily say something specific that I want to do for sure. I'm sure that something will come up in recent years, like in the future, but lately I've just been really focused on this process and really trying to get my feet underneath me in the league. And I mean, my plan, my goal would be to work in the NFL, play as long as I can, and then work probably on the scouting side, because I know that's a direct step into that track is going into the GM, and that would be my ultimate goal, was to be a GM continue.
Wow.
I mean, I went back and got my MBA even just for that reason. That you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to.
He's studious, y'all.
I don't want to leave. Once I get in, I don't want to leave. Put it that way. I coach a little bit, but I probably want to be more in the office.
Okay. So with that being the case, overall, would it be that you eventually want to be a GM, and what you've seen in terms of LSU making this transition from a championship team to rebuilding, what would you say is your philosophy on winning? Have your experiences shaped anything in terms of your beliefs about winning, what it takes to win, or what winning means?
The work is the work. Consistency is the process for us at LSU, essentially. And what I mean by that is you can't be scared or unwilling to put in the extra effort to get the result that you want. You can't just do the bare minimum and expect to go win by 35. You have to be a little crazy, a little mentally into it. You have to look at the plays at night, watch your film, not only just on the field, but small things outside of football, taking care of your body, and just small detailed things that people overlook every single day, or in my opinion, what propels a team, if they're even ranked team. This is what's going to help them get over that hump.
I like that answer. I keep saying that, but these are good answers. All right, so last question here. Okay. What would you say to the people who say, okay, you're saying all the right things, but you're hard walking? I mean, I cover the Cowboys, and we have a center right now, and people criticize him for having short arms. So
okay, I can understand.
I feel like they pick things apart this time of year. Okay. I'm not saying that it's fair.
I'm 5'8.5", 5'9", but I'm also 207, 210, so I'm not small by any means.
He's not small. So, as a matter of fact, if I edit this right, y'all are probably seeing pictures from practice today right now. So
I'm not small by any means, in my opinion. I mean, as far as height, maybe. My little brother's 6'2", so I get that. I was small in that. But I play big. Yeah.
Small but plays big, studious, wise, natural leader. Anything else you want to add before we go?
That's good. That was good.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, y'all. This has been another episode of Bitches of Sports. I'm your host, Jazz Monet, here with Josh Williams. Just make sure that you keep this guy's name in the back of your mind, because I feel like this won't be the last time. Cool. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you. Hey, what's this bit?